In this lesson, we're going to show you how a heavy truck transmission works. We'll talk about the controls and gauges you'll need to use in shifting, different shift patterns, how to use the clutch, and how to put the vehicle in motion. Also, you'll have a chance to practice each of these skills here in the TransMaster simulator, and we'll give you the feedback you'll need to be ready to take the next lesson on upshifting and downshifting. With a big rig, the power to move it starts in the engine. Then the power moves through the input shaft into the transmission, through the gears in the transmission, down the driveline, and finally to the rig's axles and wheels. The reason we shift gears is to allow our engine, which operates best in a narrow range of RPM, to power a vehicle that moves through a very wide range of speeds. Using the right gear turns the same revolutions per minute from the engine into both enough torque to start a heavy load moving, or higher road speed and horsepower for traveling. Now, torque is the twisting motion of the shaft that runs from the engine to the transmission and then out to the axles. We all know that a lot of torque is needed to start 80,000 pounds of cargo and equipment moving. So the lower the gear, the higher the torque to the wheels at the same RPM. That means you get more speed from the same RPM when you shift into a higher gear. That means that less torque is needed at speed as higher gears in the transmission are used. A good driver keeps the engine running in its ideal RPM range by being in the proper gear for what you're doing. So you have to be able to select the right gear to increase road speed, decrease road speed, increase torque, or decrease torque in order to adjust to what you need the rig to do. The transmission contains all the different gears that let the engine turn the drive shaft to the wheels at different speeds. The clutch pedal is used to separate the engine from the gearbox so that the shift lever can be used to move the transmission from one gear to another. The movement of the vehicle keeps the drive shaft and transmission gears spinning, even when the engine input shaft has been disengaged by the clutch. In order to shift smoothly back into gear, you must select the gear that best matches the road speed to the engine speed, then use the accelerator to fine-tune the engine speed until the two speeds are the same. When they're at the same speed, the gears will slip smoothly into place, and the clutch is disengaged to seat them firmly together. Controls and instruments in the TransMaster simulator are similar to the ones you'd expect to find in a real truck cab. Let's go through them quickly, and then we'll ask you to identify them to make sure you know where they are. Speedometer. This gauge shows you the speed of your vehicle over the road. Tachometer. This gauge shows you the RPM, or engine speed. Remember, we said RPM is important in a truck because the engine must be kept in a narrower band than a car. Shift lever. The shift lever is a stick coming up from the floor in the middle of the truck cab between the driver and the passenger seat. You move the shift lever in a specific pattern to change gears in the transmission. Range selector. The range selector switch is below the shifter knob and is used to move between the high range gears and low range gears in the gearbox. This way, the same shift lever position can be used for more than one gear. Splitter switch. On some manual truck transmissions, in addition to the range selector switch, there's also a splitter switch on the shift lever knob. The splitter switch is used on the Super 10, 13, 15, and 18-speed transmissions. Since the splitter switch is not used on a regular 10-speed transmission, which we're using in this simulator, it's not present here. Foot controls. There are 3 foot controls that are moved by your feet. From left to right, they are the clutch, the brake, and the accelerator. The clutch, you move it with your left foot. Pushing partway down, the clutch pedal disengages the clutch and separates the engine from the transmission. This allows changing gears without damaging the transmission or drive shaft components. Pushing the clutch pedal to the floor activates the clutch brake. Brake. The brake pedal is located on the floor in front of the driver's seat between the accelerator pedal and the clutch pedal. The brake pedal is moved with your right foot, and it activates the service brake system on both the tractor and the trailer to slow down the vehicle. Accelerator. The accelerator pedal is the foot pedal located farthest to the right, near the center of the truck cab. You move it with your right foot. The accelerator pedal is used to control the fuel flow to the engine and the engine's speed, or RPMs. The shift lever on most manual truck transmissions, whether 8, 9, 10, 13, or 15 speed, is moved in the same basic pattern to shift gears. We call it an extended H pattern because it looks like two capital H's set side by side. When the vehicle starts speeding up, the shift levers move through the gears in the H pattern. Being very familiar with moving the shift lever through the H pattern is an important part of shifting smoothly. Let's stop for a minute now and practice moving the shift lever in the H pattern.